I met Jay in 1974 at the Castro Theater. He was the prettiest man I'd ever seen. We met at the movies, going to old movies on Saturdays. And afterwards, we'd go to Orphan Andy's and talk over pancakes and whipped cream and butter and maple syrup. And we talked and talked and talked. And we laughed and we laughed and laughed. And he attached himself to me like a barnacle. And the more I loved Jay, the more he loved me. I could see it in his eyes. And he was a performer, a drag queen, a female impersonator in North Beach at the Cabaret Club and at Pinocchio's. And on opening night at Pinocchio's, I went and I wore my tie like my mommy showed me how to do. And I sat in the front row and Jay came out on stage and he had these beautiful high heels and this red lame dress and this big wig. He was so pretty. I mean, if he was pretty out of drag, he was a fantasy of gorgeousness, of gorgiosity in. And I loved him. And he sang this great song like a national anthem. There's no getting over that rainbow when the smallest dreams won't come true. And the audience cheered. They were all tourists and I cheered. And the curtain call stood up and I banged my hands together. And I cheered. I said, Jay, Jay, Jay. And that night that I saw him perform was also the night that I kissed him for the first time. It was also the last night of his life. Because just after I kissed him, I very shyly went home to my dorm. I was afraid of the feelings I felt for this goddess, this wonderful, pretty, gorgeous man, so I slunk home. And my wonderful Jay, my beautiful Jay, went to the cast party at the Cabaret Club. And he was picked up by a young man who drew a picture of him, a doodle of him. And the young man charmed him and took him to Golden Gate Park and they made love. And afterwards, the young man stabbed him 3 times, once in front and twice in the back, and left him dead next to a lake. And that was the end of my most magical Jay. The most magical person I've ever met. And the cops, they wouldn't help. I talked to the cops. They hated him. They hated all of us. They wanted us all to disappear. So I knew I had to do it myself. I would find Jay's killer. I would find him myself. And I knew how I would do it. I would go out to all the bars in the Castro. And I would sit at the bar, and one day that doodler would come up to me and he'd show me a doodle and I'd act very interested. And then he would take me out to Golden Gate Park, and just as we were about to make love and he was about to kill me, I would grab him and I would bring justice. I would grab him. I would bring to justice the doodler. The man who killed my Jay. Wonderful Jay. Pretty Jay. But as I embarked on this mission, I didn't know what I was doing. I kept going to bars, but I kept getting thrown out of bars because I was too young. I was still in college. I was still at San Francisco State. I was 18. I couldn't get into the bars. So I knew what I needed was a phony ID. So I went to Jay's friend, William, who I met after Jay died because William was jealous of me because he loved Jay too and Jay loved me. But William and I, we'd had coffee together at Orphan Andy's, and he said I could contact him anytime. I think he wanted me to. And I said, I need to get an ID. I need to get an ID, a phony ID. Do you know how to get one? Yeah, I know how to get one. Well, what do you need it for? Wow, you're brave. You're going to do that? Well, don't do it. No, don't. It's too dangerous. Let the police handle it. Let the police. You know the police won't handle it. You know they don't care about us. They don't give a damn about us. You know that. All right. Okay, well, here's a number of a guy who'll help you. He can make these things for you. And but be careful, all right? Be careful. All right? Yes, William. I will. So I took the number, I went to the address, and it was a guy who worked at the San Francisco Public Library. downtown in Civic Center. But that's not where he wanted to meet me. He wanted to meet me at his apartment, which was set up like a big photography studio. And I walked in, he was very nice to me. Hey, how are you? So you want a phony ID, huh? I want to go out and get drunk. Okay. Yeah, come on in. Oh, I'm a bookbinder. Yeah, that's what I do at the public library. A bookbinder by trade. Yeah. Okay. Let's get some pictures of you. I used to go out drinking in the bars in the Castro. Yeah, I used to love that stuff. And then I got caught. Yeah. A big old raid. They came in and they took us all away in a paddy wagon. And I thought I was going to lose my job. Yeah. I thought I was going to lose my civil service job because if they found out I was queer, they'd lock me up. Yeah. How'd I solve it? How'd I get out of it? Okay, here, smile. Okay. Okay, now turn to the right. Yeah. You want to know how I solved it? Turn to the left. I had a friend who worked in the records department of the San Francisco Police Department. And it was funny because I was arrested and then I was booked and I got a court date and the whole thing. Then all of a sudden my records disappeared. How did that happen? Like magic, they were gone. I had a connection. I worked my connections. Okay, so this is your address? All right. Hallway. You live on hallway? In the dorms? You're a student at State? Yeah, sure, I'm at State. Some of my best friends are professors at State. Hey, I got a great friend. You'd love this guy. His name's Richard Kleinman. He's a classics professor. Yeah, he's great. Okay, so look for it in the mail. I'll send it to you to that address. What are you going to do with this? You don't look like a kind of guy who wants to go out to gay bars and get drunk. What are you going to do with this, huh? Yeah, I heard that guy. I heard it through the way, yeah. All right. No, that's all right. So this one's on me. If you need any help, you just let me know. My friend at the police department, you want some records? Yeah, okay. I'll ask him for some records. So I went back to State and I had to wait for my ID to arrive. So I decided to actually go to class for a change. And one class I wanted to check out was the history class, the classics history class taught by Dr. Richard Kleinman. And I went to his class and he was amazing. He was incredible. He was one of the best lecturers I've ever had. He wrote stories. They were amazing. And you know what, Ingrid? And he was a real performer and he loved to get laughs and he loved to stand up there and tell these great stories. And I could tell he was gay. And I knew if he knew Stan, the ID man, he must be gay. And I loved it because there he was, this big old gay guy. And he was a classics professor. And I thought, this is great. We're everywhere. I thought we were just kids like me or like Jay, but no. We worked at the library, we worked at the police department in records. We were professors at State and good professors. And I turned to Francesca, who sat next to me. She was from Brazil, and I said, "Do you think Dr. Kleinman is gay? Maybe? Oh yeah. He's gay. Yeah. You can tell. Yeah, you can tell. And gay men are obsessed with their mothers. Yeah. He's obsessed with his mother, like all gay men. You see? And all I had to go was rumor. That's all I had to go on. But I knew it. And then the ID came in the mail, Stan's ID, and I headed out to the Castro bars, determined to find that doodler, to bring him to justice. I went to Missouri Mile and the Midnight Sun and Toad Hall, but it was so frustrating because I'd walk in and immediately they knew about me. I'd walk into these bars and the bartenders would be like, "Hey, come up here, sweetie. Yeah, come up here, sweet pea. Yeah, you, come here. Hey, kindergarten got out early? Yeah. Yeah, do you have some ID? Yeah, let me see. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I can see Stan's work. I know Stan, the ID man. Sure. Well, that's all right. You hang on to that. It's okay. The police fall for it. That's all I care about. What would you like to drink? A Coke? What do you want in the Coke? Nothing. Coke straight. Look, kid, what is this? Your high school newspaper, your straight boy come to check out the mating rituals of the gay boys. Is that it? Huh? Is that it? Look, you gotta drink. You don't drink. Okay. Well, could you at least act drunk? People don't come in here to have people watching them, okay? Act like a drunk. Act like a drunk, okay? Yeah, I'll get your $10 Coke. So I sat there with my Coke And I was waiting for the Doodler. It was pathetic. I couldn't talk to anybody. I was so nervous. Everybody talked to me. I just scrunch up. And I didn't even know what I was looking for. All I knew is that he had a pad and a haircut. That's all I knew about him. And I didn't even know what size pad, what kind of a pencil he used. I didn't even know what I was looking for. And I felt pathetic. So I was leaving the bar one day and I said, listen, can you just tell people that this guy's a doodler and not to go home with him? He's a murderer. What are you, crazy? I'm not going to tell people that. I'll lose business. Don't be insane. I'm not going to say that to anybody. What do you, look, I don't want you in here if you're going to mess up my business, okay? Yep. All right. I'll look out for him. I'll look out for this doodler, okay? Tell me about it. Give me a description. Well, why don't you get one if you want to lead a big investigation, okay, kid? Why don't you get a description and come back and tell it to me? So I had to go and get a description. I had to go visit my friend at the gangway who I talked to earlier in my investigation. And I rode over to Polk Street on my bike to the gangway. And I locked my bike up and I walked into that dark, dark bar with all those dark corners and all those lonely gay men hiding in the corners. And there was my friend. Hey, you came back to see me. How are you? Yeah, come on, sit in the shadow before that Nazi behind the bar spots you. Hey, how's it going? Yeah? You're looking for that kid, the Doodler? Oh, wow, that's great. You need some more information? Okay, I can give you a description. Yeah, the pad was very big. It was a big pad, big. And he used an artist's pencil, like a real person. Yeah, and he was very clean cut. And he liked lively guys, really lively. That guy, Chris Mann, that German, that Kraut that he killed from here, he was a lively one. I could tell the Doodler was attracted to the lively ones. Hey, you want some help? I can give you some help. Yeah. Hey, you can do the bars in the Castro and I'll do the bars on Polk Street. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I haven't been to them in about 10, 20 years, but I can reacquaint myself. They'll remember me. I'll have to drink more. Oh, that's all right. I'll have to come back here too, though, because I'm very loyal. I don't want to be disloyal to this place. Yeah. Now, what? Oh, yeah, sure. I'll call the police if I see anything. Sure. What's their number? 911. 911's their number? That's so convenient. 911. Oh, this is great. I've been looking for a purpose in life for about 10 years. This is a good purpose. This is going to be fun. Hey, don't make fun of me. I want to find that son of a bitch like anybody else. But if it's fun, I'll be motivated. If it's not fun, I'll be undermotivated. It's very important to be motivated in something like this. Yeah. You'll be Nancy Drew, and I'll be Columbo. So I headed back out to the bars. And I decided, okay, lively. I need to act drunk anyway, so I was going to act drunk. I hated the taste of alcohol. I hated it on my lips because I saw what it did to my father. When he got drunk, he didn't care about me anymore. He didn't care about anything. So I was going to act drunk. I was just going to act drunk, and I would get drinks with alcohol in them, but I wouldn't even let the liquor touch my lips, just barely, just like a sip. And I'd shout obnoxious things like, hey, I'm 21, but I'm built like I'm 12. What do you think of that? I'm built like I'm 12. Yeah, hey, I'm so young. I don't even know what time it is. Yeah. I was the life of the party, screaming at the bar, and then every once in a while I'd knock my drink over and spill everywhere, and people think, oh boy, he's drunk, and somebody would buy me a drink. So I saved a lot of money. And I went crazy at the bar, and there was such release in these bars. The gangway had been so dark and lonely, but at night the bars in the Castro exploded with life. Everybody was having a good time, and I realized that during the day they were all afraid of being exposed, afraid of being discovered as gay men. And they lived in fear. And it was only here that they could express themselves. And I thought about Jay. I thought about how Jay was never afraid of anything. Jay was so boisterous and full of life. He never was afraid of life. I remember him standing up there in full drag in front of all those tourists from all over the country singing, there's no getting over that rainbow when the smallest dreams won't come true. And all those tourists clapping for him, clapping, yelling and cheering. And he was like an ambassador of the straight world for the gay community. I was so proud of Jay. Never afraid. If people didn't like them, he could go to hell. because he just sent out love, and all he could do was love him back. And I wondered if anybody would ever love me again that way, the way Jay had loved me. And every week I check in with my friend at the gangway. I'd ride over to Polk Street and he'd give me updates. Nah, I haven't seen him. He's keeping a low profile. He's kind of disappeared. Sorry. I'll let you know. I'll tell you if I see him again. Yeah, and I'll remember to call 911. I decided that we're not Nancy Drew and Columbo. We're McMillan and wife. You're McMillan? I'm wife. I decided I should go back to Finocchio's and talk to the lead actress, the guy who first told me about Jay's death. So I rode my bike over to Broadway and I parked on the sidewalk. I walked up those long, creaky, dark stairs. I turned right into that empty auditorium where I'd seen Jay perform. And I went back into the dressing room, and there she was, the lead actress. And that guy looked up at me. And he stood up. And he took my hand like he'd done before, and he led me out onto the fire escape, into that bird poop-covered fire escape. And he put a cigarette to his lips, and he lit it. He took a big drag, and he exhaled. Joe, I remember you. You're the boy with the tie, the one that J-Bay, little J-Bay was so in love with you on opening night. You warmed his heart. Yeah. So what brings you back? Just to say hello? Share some memories of J-Bay. There was never a sweeter doll than J-Bay. Well, she knew the score. What's that? You're looking for this guy? For the serial killer? Yeah. You're looking for the Doodler? Is that who you're looking for? This guy that draws the pictures? This psycho that draws the pictures? Is he the only one? Yeah, he's not the only one. He's not the only one you should be looking for because the Tenderloin has its own killer. It has its own serial killer. This guy specializes in drag queens and transgenders. His name's the Tenderloin Slasher. So who's to know? There are a lot of sharks in the sea. All of them after us, and the cops don't care. The cops love it. They love it. They want to see us die. We're doing the one thing the cops can't do. They can make us pay bribes. They can beat us up. They can throw us in jail. They can make it so we lose our jobs, but they can't kill us, not legally. So they don't stop the slashers, the doodlers. I want to turn this place into a castle. I want to turn Pinocchio's into a castle. I want to put a chain on the door and padlock it and stack the furniture up against the windows and turn it into a castle and protect my girls. I want to protect my girls here. Just like the Warlord, you know, that Charlton Heston movie? Yeah, that's what I want to be. I want to be Charlton Heston in my own castle to protect my ladies. Protect them from the outside world. So you want my help? You want to know what I know? About what? About the serial killer? Which one? Which one? There's so many. We're dying every day. I'm sorry. You want my help? I'll give you my help. That Doodler struck more times than you know, because he doesn't kill everybody. And the police don't report the ones he doesn't kill. So I'll give you an address. Here's an address. You take that. You go to that address. You be nice to her. You be as nice to her as you can. But maybe you'll convince her. Convince her of what? You'll see. Give me your hand. I gotta show you that. You were so cute in that tie. You come back and see your mama some other time. And you wear that tie to remind me of Jay. And you find that Doodler. You find that bastard. Be careful, kid. So I got on my bike and I rode over to the Tenderloin. I went right to the address. I went up to this room And I knocked, and I told the person on the other side of the door who sent me, and he slowly opened the door. He was this lovely young man wearing a kimono. It's this dark room, but he had all these dresses and these lovely shoes on the walls, but it was very dark and lonely, and he looked kind of bird-like. And I asked him, he said, yeah, I'm at the Doodler. Mm-hmm. In a bar. He had a big smile. Yeah, and he drew a picture of me. Nobody ever does that. And he said he wanted to take me to the beach. And we got in his car and we drove to Ocean Beach. It was so romantic. And we stood there in the moonlight and we made love. And when we were finished, I turned around to get dressed, and I guess I didn't hear him because of the surf, because the next thing I knew, he stabbed me. He stabbed me from behind. I didn't even hear him behind me. And the knife came out the other side, and I could see the blade sticking out. And he pulled the knife out, and I kicked him as hard as I can. And then I turned around and he raised the knife to me again. I raised my hand, hit my hand, slashed it right open. And then I kicked him, and I kicked him, and I kicked him, and I kicked him. I kicked him as hard as I could. And then he started running away from me. And I started running after him. But I was losing blood. And I collapsed. And I fainted in the sand. And I'm lucky that he didn't come back to finish me off. I tried to chase him, I did. But he got away. But when the police came, I gave them his license plate number. I remember that. I have a photographic memory. And they told me that they could find him and bring him in, but would I go to a lineup? Would I identify him? I said yes. And then they said, would you give testimony? I said, I can't give testimony, no. I work at a used bookstore in North Beach. My boss would fire me if he found I was gay. He'd fire me like that. I can't give testimony. And they said, well, we can't prosecute unless we have testimony. I couldn't give testimony. I couldn't, because I'd have to go back to Arizona. This is all I've got, is that bookstore, and it allows me to perform at night. And if I lose that job, I have to go back where I came from, back to Arizona. I cannot go back to Arizona. No, don't you try to convince me. Don't you, no, don't you try to. Don't try. I am not giving testimony. I am not giving up my life here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hope you find him. I'm so sorry. So I pedaled back to the Castro, and I went back to the bar, to the Midnight Sun, and I got a drink, and I started acting rowdy and showing off. I was so depressed. I was so determined to be alive and find this guy, since nobody could help me. And then I looked down the bar, and at the end of the bar was William, Jay's friend, the one who'd helped me withstand the ID man. He was at the end of the bar, and he was drunk. He was so drunk that he couldn't even open his eyes. And there was this older man in a suit standing with him, fondling him, touching William right there at the bar. And I don't think William even was aware of it, or was only remotely aware of it. And this guy was rubbing him. And I walked over there and I squeezed between the two of them, and I started with William up. And this guy, this old guy in a suit, was offended. Excuse me, young man. This is a private party. Yeah, excuse me. Why don't you go away somewhere? Yeah, I know that he's drunk. I bought him the drinks. Now buzz off. Where are you going? Well, you can't take him, you cock tease. I took William out on the sidewalk, and he stuck his head into a trash can. I told him to vomit, and he did, and it was disgusting. And these gay boys across the street started laughing at us and screaming and saying things, and I said, fuck off, I'll come over there and kick your ass. And they did. They actually fell for it, my butch routine. And then I took William and I sat him down on the sidewalk, and I popped down next to him, and I said, what are you doing there? What the hell were you doing in there? He said, I don't know. I lost my apartment, I lost my job, I got thrown out of the street. So I thought I'd turn some tricks. I was just trying to make some money. Well, I couldn't ride him home on my bicycle, so I walked him back to San Francisco State, to my dorm room. We walked over that huge hill together, and it was good because it sobered him up. He told me what had happened. I fell in love with this boy at work. We really liked each other. We used to do it all the time. He loved it. But then he kind of freaked out because he didn't want to be gay. He told his father. His father owned the store, the grocery store where we both worked, and he fired me. He fired me right quick. I was out on the street. I went home. I couldn't pay my rent. They threw me out too. Jay would have told me about things like that. I didn't know you could be fired for being gay. He would have told me. So we walked the rest of the way back to the dorms and hallway, and so I snuck him into the dormitory and I took him up to my room, and my roommate Glenn was there. I never talked to Glenn. He and I had nothing to say to each other, but I laid blankets on the floor and a pillow, and I said, this is where you're gonna stay. You're gonna sleep here tonight. And Glenn didn't say anything. That was so cool. I barely knew Glenn, and he didn't say anything. He just saw somebody who needed someplace to stay, and he didn't say a word. And so William fell asleep on my floor. The next morning, he got up before me. When I woke up, he was standing above me, fully dressed, and he said, "Thank you for rescuing me. I gotta go." And I looked up at him, and my heart ached at just how boring he was compared to Jay. Then I thought, why am I so judgmental? Jay could have treated me like I was boring, and I was boring, but he treated me like I was special, and it made me special. And here I was judging this kid. And I should be treating him like Jay treated me. I said, you're staying here. You're staying here. You're staying here until we can get you a job and get you a place to live. Right, Glenn? Is that right, Glenn? He's going to stay here. And Glenn said, sure, dude. You stay here. Just pick it up, dude. I thought that was so cool. I was getting to know Glenn, and he was a good guy. He was a wonderful guy. So I said to William, I said, okay, so take a shower, and then we'll all get dressed, and I'm going to take you to see a Gloria Graham movie at the Castro Theater, okay? You'll love it. It's a Gloria Graham movie. I don't know who Gloria Graham is. You don't know who Gloria Graham is? What are you kidding? I thought you were into old movies. You don't know Gloria Graham? No, I wasn't into old movies. I just like hanging out with Jay. Jay used to sit next to me. The only reason I like going with Jay is because I love being with him. And he used to talk through the whole movie. He'd talk about how the actresses had bad skin and how they were all sluts. And I used to laugh and laugh. Can you do that? Can you be bitchy during a movie? Can you make bitchy comments? Because otherwise, I'm just going to miss Jay. I'm just going to be sad Jay's not there. I'm like, well, is there something you would like to do? No, there's a movie I'd like to see. But it's a new movie. It's not an old movie. It's a new movie. It's called Jaws. Jaws? Jaws. Jaws. I never heard of that. Jaws. Is this porn? Is it gay porn? Jaws. I've never heard that movie. And then Glenn said, "Oh, that movie's cool. I want to see that movie. Yeah, that's a cool movie. I'd like to come with you guys." That was the longest sentence I'd ever heard out of Glenn. Yeah, I read that book. That book was cool. It's the only book I've ever finished. Cool. So we showered, we got dressed, and we walked over the mountain. And we were headed to Geary, to a theater I'd never been to, the Coronet Theater, to see this movie called Jaws. And I was like, what am I, a delivering angel? Suddenly now I'm turning into Jay, I'm taking care of everybody and going and seeing first-run movies? This is weird. But as we got close to the Coronet Theater, I saw this line stretching around the block. I'm like, why? These people were waiting in line 2 hours before the movie started. And we stood there for 2 hours. And finally, Glenn went off and bought us hamburgers and French fries. And then we finally sat down. And those two could not stop talking. We were stuck in this line, but they were loving it. They were loving every minute of it. They talked about Elton John and Simon and Garfunkel. I didn't know anything about these people. And they talked about movies, but it wasn't like old movies. It was like movies from last year. And they talked about songs they loved, like something called Crocodile Rock and Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me and Bridge Over Troubled Waters. And I was like falling asleep. I was so bored. And then they started talking about the Partridge Family. And I wanted to scream with boredom. It was hideous. But then I looked at William. And what I saw was just a normal kid. He's just a kid having fun with his friend. His enthusiasms. He was wonderful. He didn't have to worry about his best friend dying, or loving somebody else, or being kicked out of his apartment, or losing his job, or turning tricks to make money. He was just allowed to be a kid. And I love that. He was just having fun. And finally, the line started moving inside, and we went inside to see this movie, Jaws. And the theater got dark. And then the movie started. And I sat there. And it was a movie about a shark. It was a movie about a shark. A shark? It was, what? It was this horror movie about a shark, and the audience was so excited. They loved every second of it. And the shark would eat people, and then everybody would scream. And then in the second half, they were trying to kill the shark, and then finally the shark exploded. And everyone was screaming through the whole movie. I was like, it's about a shark. That's a shark. It's a shark. And every time the screaming happened, William would grab Glenn. I thought, well, that's interesting. So this thing went on, and it was all about this shark. And when it was over, those two enthused about this shark, they went on and on. I thought Jay would roll over in his grave if he heard this. A movie where the villain is a shark? That's ridiculous. What about George Saunders as the villain, or Jack Palance? And there was no role for Joan Crawford or Bette Davis in this thing. None. It was horrible, this movie. But they loved it. They loved it. And Glenn went off to the bathroom, and William said, "I like Glenn. I'm glad he came." So what was I, the matchmaker? I was going to lose William to Glenn, pothead Glenn? Glenn was a hippie. He'd sleep with anything. Hippies sleep with anything. They'll do anything. They don't care. And I thought, what is going on? And then I looked at William. And I thought, wow, he was just enthusing the same way Jay and I did about our movies. He loved it. And I realized that he wasn't a boring kid. He was lovable. He was adorable. And he was cute. Yeah, he was boring cute, but he was cute. He was cute. He was cute. He wasn't boring. And fuck Glenn trying to steal my boyfriend. Boyfriend? Wow. Interesting. And then Glenn came out of the bathroom, and he said, so what are we going to do now, dude? And I said, William and I are walking to Castro. And he said, oh, that's cool. I love the Castro. I want to come with you. I said, no, you're going to the Haight-Ashbury. We'll drop you off in the Haight-Ashbury. That's where you belong, Glenn. Come on, let's go. Everybody, quick march. Out. And we walked over the hill to the Haight-Ashbury. And they said, here you go, Glenn. This is where the hippies are and the marijuana. Yeah, bye-bye. Bye, Glenn. Bye-bye. Got rid of him. And then William and I walked over the hill to the Castro. We were quiet for a while, and then William said, you didn't like that movie, did you? I said, no, it was great. It was brilliant. It was very clever. Yeah, good interpersonal relations and dynamics. I was in suspense. It was like All About Eve for Mildred Pierce. Yeah, quality. And I said, what are we going to do about you? What are you and me going to do about you? And he said, I don't know. Guess I'll have to go back to Georgia. Start turning tricks again. You can't turn tricks. You're no good as a prostitute. You don't think I'm cute enough? No, it's not that you're not cute enough. It's that you've got to do something. You can't just like sit there and let guys fondle you. You've got to provide a service. You've got to wake up. You have no respect for the profession. You will never succeed as a prostitute. Forget about it. It is not your calling. You like me? Yeah. Yeah, sure, okay. Yeah, I like you. Do you miss Jay? I miss Jay. I miss Jay like I can't even believe. Jay broke my heart. He broke it in two. He made me feel smart, handsome, and charming, and I'm none of those things. Only in Jay's eyes was I any of those things. And now that he's gone, I'm nothing. He broke my heart. He made me feel so special. And finally, we arrived at the corner of 15th and Castro. We looked out over that glorious village of ours. with a huge Castro theater sign in neon soaring into the air. We just stood there and smiled. And I took his hand. I took William's hand as we looked out over our village. And then we realized that there was chaos below. There was noise, there were bullhorns and police whistles, and people were yelling, screaming, and the cops were yelling at people, and there were sirens going off, and squad cars racing about, and people were running, and we heard later that it was the night of the Castro 14, and they were grabbing people off the street, beating them, throwing them into paddy wagons, taking them to the precinct, hooking them, and then beating them some more for no other reason that they were gay. It was the Irish cops trying to take back their neighborhood, the Castro, from the gay boys, and it was pandemonium. It was a disaster, and we just stood there in shock watching it. And then all of a sudden, that big, glorious Castro sign, that neon sign on the theater, blinked out. And then all these men started running out of the theater in panic. But they didn't get anywhere because the cops were waiting for them with their nightsticks. And they started running towards the cops, and the cops raised their nightsticks, and boom! They would go down and nightstick, boom, nightstick, boom, nightstick, boom, nightstick, boom. And they started piling up. The movies they were showing were The Bad and the Beautiful and The Asphalt Jungle. These guys were like me. That was the movie I wanted to see, The Bad and the Beautiful. I would have been there. And they stood there with their nightsticks, boom, boom, boom. And the piles started growing. They kept growing. And more gay men came out of the theater, but they couldn't go anywhere because the pile was so high. And the cops stood behind the pile with their nightsticks, boom, boom, boom. And Jason William said, come on, and I grabbed him. I didn't want him to go. I didn't want him to go down there and get himself killed, so I grabbed him. I didn't know what he'd do, but I held on. I said, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay right here. And I tried to close my ears. I tried to close my ears to the horror of the night of the Castro 14 happening below us. And I stood there holding him with all my might, and I wouldn't let him go. And after about 5 minutes, the sirens started to disappear. It started growing quiet, and I realized that it was over. The horror was over. I slowly let go of William. And the sirens died down, and we headed down the hill to help the moviegoers who were in a pile. And when we got there, we saw that they were writhing on the ground, covered with blood and bruised. They were just a pile of guys. And we heard later that the police had done it deliberately. They cruised up to this gay guy on the sidewalk, and they said, get off the sidewalk, faggot. And then they jumped out of their squad cars, and they grabbed him, and they threw him in a paddy wagon, and they just started grabbing gay guys and beating them. They beat up dozens. They arrested 14, the Castro 14, and the crime on the books, the crime that they were accused of was obstructing the sidewalk. And we just stood there looking at these poor men, bleeding, confused. We started helping them up. And William lifted this one guy. He was like just this nice guy, like 60 years old, a moviegoer like me. And William's chest, his shirt was covered with blood, and this guy had blood flowing down his forehead. And he said, I can't see. I can't see. And William wiped his eyes with his shirt sleeve, and he blinked. And William steadied him, and then he started walking up Castro Street towards Market like a little baby, just like a little baby. And suddenly, the next thing I knew, William was out in the middle of the street shouting down Castro Street, come on, you pigs! Come on, you monster pigs! Come on, you monsters! Come and get me! Come and get me! And I didn't know what was happening. My whole world had cracked in two and spattered into a bunch of pieces all over the ground. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what was going on. I was shaking with confusion, and he was still standing out in the middle of the street. William, come on, you pigs! Come on! Come get me, you monster pigs! And then way down at the end of Castro Street, at the intersection of Castro and 18th, I could see a squad car, a police car. And when they heard him, the squad car lit up like a Christmas tree, lights spinning, sirens blaring, and then the squad car started doing donuts, trying to find out who was calling them pigs. And it disappeared into a cloud of rubber smoke, and then it stopped, and it pointed right at William, and he said, come on, pigs, come on and get me, you monster pigs. And then this squad car, its back wheels started spinning, trying to grab the pavement, and there was more rubber smoke, and suddenly the back wheels grabbed the pavement, and it shot off. It lunged towards William, and he said, "Come on, pigs, come on!" And this squad car, this cop car, was like an angry animal. It was enraged. It didn't even look like a car anymore. It looked like a shark, and it was headed right for my William. And he kept saying, "Come on, pigs!" It wasn't coming to get him. It was coming to run him down. And just as it was about to hit him, William jumped out of the way, and he tackled me, and we bowled down on the ground and rolled away. And the squad car raced past, just barely missing him. It shot across Market Street. It was flying across Market Street, barely touching the ground. It went halfway up Castro to 15th Street, and then it started spinning again in a cloud of rubber smoke, trying to find William. And he stood out there and said, "Come on, pigs, here I am. Come and get me, you pigs." And it shot towards him, and William grabbed my hand, and we started running down the sidewalk. We were running down the sidewalk, running, and I felt this blast of hot, white peppermint in my face. It was right on, and we were running, and I realized, I don't even know how, the squad car was on the sidewalk, and William kept crying, "Come on, pigs, come get me," and it shot after us, and it was almost on us, and William grabbed me and yanked me across Castro Street, and we flew across the sidewalk. We were moving so fast, my feet only touched the ground twice as we crossed Castro Street, and the squad car raced right behind us, just missing us. It crashed into a bunch of newspaper boxes, sending them flying, busting windows, and then it was out in the middle of the intersections again, spinning, doing donuts, trying to find us, disappearing in a cloud of rubber. And William was running up 18th Street, shouting over his head, "Come on, pigs, come on, pigs." I was right behind him, and then it found William, and it shot forward, it lunged forward, and William grabbed my hand, and we dove inside, and the squad car raced by us. Sirens blaring, lights spinning like a fine attacking Christmas tree, but they hadn't seen us go inside. And we were inside. We were in Toad Hall, the bar, and it was completely dark, but it was full of 100 gay men in the shadows, silent, waiting. We went inside, and some of them were whimpering, and some of them were crying, but everybody was clutching somebody else. And the bartender said, "You better go home now. Everybody just better go home. And somebody says, I'm not going out there. And I got Will to a chair, and I knew his rage was electric. I think he'd taken everything he was furious about. Jay's death, Jay loving me more than him losing his job, him losing his apartment, him turning tricks, and he directed it at the police. He was enraged. He was an animal of rage. I knew that if I didn't hold him, he would go back out on that street and say, "Come on, pigs, until he was splattered by a squad car." So I held him in his chair. And I said, "I'm not going out there. Just sit here. And I held him there. And then I heard a pitiful little voice said, "They could get in here. They could get into this bar." And suddenly a chain appeared, and they wrapped it around the door handles, and they padlocked the door shut. And then somebody else said they could come through the windows, they could bust the windows, and people started stacking tables and chairs against the windows, and we barricaded ourselves in there. We created a castle, just like the actress of Pinocchio's wanted to do. We were barricaded in a castle in the middle of the Castro to defend ourselves against the police on the night of the Castro 14. And then everybody started ordering drinks, and I thought, why not? Hey, why not? Why shouldn't we have drinks? And I got a Coke for myself and a beer for William. And we sat there drinking, and I could tell that everybody was calming down. Everybody was relaxing, getting their energy back, getting their focus back. But we could still hear sounds outside. And I was holding William, making sure he didn't go anywhere. And then somebody sat down beside me. I said to them, "Don't worry, it's going to be fine. Yeah, don't worry." Oh. You've drawn a picture of me. Well, that's nice. Wow. Um, yeah. So, uh, wow, that's great. That's a great picture. Yeah. Um, are you in art school? Yeah. Well, which one? Which art school do you go to? You don't have to tell me. That's okay. Scary night, huh? Yeah. Yeah, very scary. And then it got quiet. It was quiet outside finally. The police had gone. It was quiet in that bar. And I was standing there staring at a doodle of me held by a young man holding an artist's pencil and smiling. Yeah, sure. I'm interested. Yeah, sounds exciting. Let me just talk to this guy I was talking to, okay? Just 1 second. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Follow me. Do you hear me? Okay. Uh, uh, so yeah. Uh, well, all set. Yeah. And we were the first ones to leave. They unchained the door. They opened it up. And the Doodler and I walked out onto the sidewalk. I don't have a car. I hope you do. Oh, okay. Oh, is this it? Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, it's a cute car. So, do you live in the city? Oh, well, that's okay. You don't have to tell me. And we started driving away, and I realized that William couldn't follow me. So, what's your name? Oh, that's okay. You don't tell me yours, I won't tell you mine. Yeah, I love that picture. Nobody ever draws pictures of me. It's really good. Can I have it? You think? Oh, that's okay. No, I understand. I want to be an artist, but I didn't have any talent. I wasn't talented enough. Yeah, you're very talented. I I went and saw a movie tonight. It's Jaws. Have you heard of that movie? Yeah, it's scary. Very scary movie. It's all about this shark that terrorizes this little village. Yeah, I think you'd like it. I mean, do you like scary movies? Yeah, this one was very scary. Yeah, I'm gay. Yeah, I'm gay. Yeah, I'm gay. Yeah, yeah, out and proud. Do our parents know? Yeah, they know. We don't talk about it, but they know all about it. How about your parents? They know? They kill you? Oh, come on. They wouldn't kill you. Your parents? Come on. No, I didn't go to church. Do you? What denomination? Oh. No, I didn't see a psychiatrist. Do you? Why? They can't cure you of that. If they could, you wouldn't be here, would you? um, no, I'm sorry. I'll shut up. I was just trying to be funny. Yeah. Oh, wow. Here we are. Oh, yeah, this is nice. Oh, I love being out in the moonlight like this. Yeah. I love the beach, the surf. It's wonderful. Yeah. So why don't you take your jacket off? Yeah, come on. Yeah, I'll help you. Oh, that's all right. No, keep it on if you want. Keep your jacket on. Hey, I like being here with you. Do. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, that's hot. Yeah. Yep. What is it? What is this? You have a knife in your pocket? In your jacket? What was this for? You carry this around? Just hang on. Just hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Hey, stop. I'm gonna hold this to your neck. Why are you carrying a knife, big boy? What is this for? Yeah? Yeah. You just stand there. If you move, I'm going to shove this in your neck. Yeah, is this the same knife you used on Jay? Pretty Jay, remember Jay from the cabaret called? You remember him. He was only your second. He was only the second one before anybody knew about you. I knew about you. I've been looking for you, and now I've got you. I have got you. And now I'm going to just, you move. I'll use this on you. I'll use it on you. I will slit your throat. And we're going to take you to the car. We're going to drive to the police station. You're going to tell them everything you've done. Now I've got you red-handed. No, you just back up. Don't you turn around. You just back up. You just back up slowly. That's right. Yeah. Pretty pictures, huh? You'll make a pretty picture. You'll make a pretty picture. Yes, you will indeed. Yes, you will. Hey, wait a second. Maybe I should just finish you myself. I don't trust the police. Maybe I should just finish you. Then I thought of Jay. And I asked myself, what would Jay do? He wouldn't kill. Jay would not kill. Okay, come on. Come on, just keep moving. Just keep moving, that's right. Just keep, shit. Don't get, come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. What are you? Come back here. Doodler. And he got in his car. And then that rubber smoke appeared again as his wheels spun and tried to grab the pavement. He was an animal, like the squad car, but he was an animal trying to get away, an animal fleeing. And finally, his tires caught the pavement and he took off. And I shouted, Doodler! Doodler! And I picked up the knife because I needed his evidence. And then William showed up in a cab. William in a cab, good old William. And he said, I'm sorry, I came as quick as I could. What happened to you? I said, don't worry about it. Just get in the cab, What happened? I got his knife. Get in the cab. And I told the cabbie where to take us. And he drove us. He drove us to the precinct. And I went and I saw my old adversary, that old mean guy, Detective Mulroney. God, kid, you're persistent, aren't you? What the hell happened to you? What happened? Hey, get an ambulance. This kid's bleeding. What happened to you? I got the Doodler. I got him. I fell on the knife. I tripped in the sand and I fell on the knife. But this is the knife. I've got everything you need to know. I've got the license plate number. I've got the knife with his prints on it. I even have a description of him. I've got him. I told you I got him. I got him. And then I start feeling faint. I was losing focus. And William grabbed me and he caught me before I fell. The next thing I knew, I woke up in a hotel room. And William, wonderful William, was holding my hand, staring down at me. Look at you. Color's coming back into your face. You look like a vampire for a few days. No blood. Look at you. And later that day, that same day, Stan, the ID man, came and saw me in the hospital. I could barely move. I'd fallen on the knife like an idiot, but I got the knife. And Stan said, "Oh, look at you. You've done pretty well, haven't you?" Well, I came down here to tell you something. My friend in the police department, don't tell them I told you this, he found the Doodler's record. And they followed the license plate and they brought him in and they questioned him. And I'll tell you something else. They found his psychiatrist and they questioned him too. And the psychiatrist told the cops that the Doodler admitted it. He admitted it to the cops. How about that for friends in gay places, huh? For the next few days, I was stuck in bed, but I kept calling the police. They wouldn't answer. They wouldn't pick up. They wouldn't answer their phones, and they wouldn't call me back. And finally, I dragged myself out of that hospital. I said, "No, I'm going. And I went down to the precinct, and I walked in there. And I said, what is going on? I was talking to the detective. I was demanding answers. I wanted to know what was going on. I brought them the knife. I gave them a description. They talked to the psychiatrist. Said, okay, calm down. Hey, kid, calm down. Hey, calm down. Calm down. Now listen to me. Yes, we talked to that psychiatrist, and yes, he told us what the Doodler said, but we can't use that in court because of client, right? Patient-doctor privilege. We can't use that in court. It's inadmissible. And your wound's a self-inflicted wound. We didn't even do that. And that knife you brought in, we didn't find any prints on it. All was on it was your blood smeared everywhere. We've got nothing. Nothing. I said, what do you mean nothing? What do you mean? What do you mean you've got nothing? He said, listen, you want some advice? The next time you get the Doodler out there, let him stab you. Then we'll have some real evidence. We'll have some real evidence. Fuck you. Fuck you saying something like that to me. Fuck you. Hey, you say one more thing like that, kid, I'm going to throw you in jail. I'll arrest you. Let me tell you something. You listen to me. I got a son your age, and I wish he was as motivated as you are. You really impressed me. And I believe everything you've told me. I do. But I'll tell you something. The judge ain't going to believe you. He's not going to believe a word of it. And we don't have any evidence. None. And until somebody who survives one of these stabbings actually gets stabbed and decides to testify, we won't have a case. There are three of them. The guy you talked to, another guy who's a local celebrity, and another guy who's a nationally famous entertainer. None of them want to talk because they'll lose their jobs. You get one of those people to talk, we have a case. Otherwise, we've got nothing. Listen, kid, I'm really sorry. Yeah, well, that's all you're going to get out of me is an apology. You want something else? Go somewhere else. I hope you get better, kid. That was it. Nobody would come forward. The Doodler killed between 5 people and 16 in 1974 and 1975, and he was never captured. There were 3 people who could have testified, but they didn't want to. They would have lost their jobs. And I went back to my dorm room, which now had Glenn in it, and William, and the 3 of us lived there together. And Glenn, he just stayed with us. And he never did get a job, but he ate in the dorms, in the cafeteria, and nobody ever noticed. William became my William. He became my boy. And we made each other feel special. And I thought about the Doodler over the years and how his crime disappeared. And I realized that so long as we didn't have any power, it'd always be this way. There'd always be a police force that hated us because we had no power. There'd always be people in the city who hated us because we had no power. And finally, there was a politician who came along and he said, we can't fight these people. We can't fight them in the streets. We can't fight them at work. We can't do anything. All we can do is vote. We've got to vote, and he got us all to vote. And eventually, he was elected supervisor. And then he too was killed by a cop. But he made us realize that power comes not from pursuit, not from stalking each other, not from fighting back on the street and taking on squad cars, but taking all that energy and putting it into elected office. Maybe one day they'll find the Doodler. They haven't yet. One of the gay serial killers who just got away with it. But I'll always have Jay, beautiful Jay, singing at Pinocchio's. And the lyrics of one of his songs that he loves so much from an old musical movie They can't take that away from me. Thank you so much for joining me for Doodler finale. This is the second part of the two-part Doodler. The first is on our website, therhino.org. This is a true story. There isn't a whole lot of information about this story. It wasn't covered that much. But my participation of it, of course, was fictional, but the story of the Doodler is true. And I thought a lot about this story when we were doing a piece about the court case, which hasn't been decided yet about whether or not you can fire people. There's still states in the union where you can fire people for being gay. It still is an issue. And that was the key to the Doodler case. If they could get one of these people to testify, then they would have had the Doodler, but they didn't because they didn't want to lose their jobs because they could be fired for being gay. But that doesn't apply anymore in San Francisco, but it does in the United States. And hopefully by the end of the month, we'll know what the decision is on that. If you'd like to support our live broadcasts, you can make a donation to our theater at therhino.org. That's therhino.org. You can make it online or send us a check. We are doing 1 to 2, sometimes 3 shows a week, so always check us out. We have some things coming up next week and then some special events for Pride. Our love goes out to our audience, to all the people who are at home still during the coronavirus, to all the people who continue to suffer under police brutality. Thank you so much for joining me. Good night.